Wow. I'll tell you now.
Okay, once upon a time and happily ever after. How many times do young impressionable girls hear these words as a bedtime story? I don't ever remember reading or listening to a story that didn't begin and end with these words. That is what brings me to the point that I will make tonight. Fairy tales are neither a good role model nor a foundation for young girls to base their future lives on. Young girls watch or read these fairy tales and base their lives on a fairy tale ending. I will discuss with you the ways that the original fairy tale princesses affect young girls. First, I am a fan of a good story, just like anyone else, but I don't believe young impressionable girls should believe these fairy tales are a basis for a normal life. These classic fairy tale princesses include Cinderella, Snow White, Belle, Ariel, and Aurora. There are several other different princesses that I have not mentioned. First off, what little girls see is a princess with a perfect body and beauty. My question is, do we as parents or grandparents want our daughters or granddaughters thinking this is how every girl should look? Why is there no Disney princess that is bigger than a size 2, that has acne, that doesn't need a prince to save her? Why? Because this wouldn't be considered a princess and would not have a fairy tale ending. So let's start out with Cinderella. She was born of goodness and sweet temper. She had a stepmother that was described as arrogant, superior, and uppish. The stepmother also had 2 daughters that were equally vain and selfish. Cinderella became a servant to her stepmother and her stepsisters. She bore abuse by them, but would not tell her father because she loved her father so much, and the stepmother ran him completely. Jealousy is the core reason of abuse to Cinderella. And in this fairy tale story, do we really want our young girls focusing on jealousy and abuse? Do you know how the Cinderella story ends? I know it's probably been a while since some of you have read fairy tales, so I'll remind you of the ending. With a little magic from 3 fairy godmothers, the prince rescues her from the abusive life she had. So to many of you, this is just a fairy tale with a happy ending. But to impressionable young girls, it shows abuse that she didn't tell her father about and just kept enduring out of love for him. Let's go on to another one. Let's talk about Snow White. She also was born with such beauty. At the time of her birth, her mother died. A year later, her father did remarry a stepmother who wanted to be the fairest in the land. The stepmother occupied a mirror that she would question on a daily basis who was the fairest of them all. At 7 years old, Snow White became the fairest of them all. The mirror had told the stepmother this. Becoming so outraged with jealousy, the stepmother hired a huntsman to take Cinderella, Snow White, into the forest and kill her. As a token, she wanted the huntsman to bring back a lung and liver for her to eat. The huntsman went into the forest, looked at Snow White, and could not kill her. Her beauty and her innocence stopped him. Instead, he let her free. He then found a bear, killed the bear, and brought the lung and liver back to the stepmother, who then ate it. To make this long story short, what happened then was Snow White stumbled upon a cottage with 7 dwarfs. They told her that she could live there and not need for anything if she would just sew, knit, clean, and wash their laundry. So Snow White lived there with the 7 dwarfs until, again, the stepmother found out through the magic mirror that she was still alive. She disguised herself, went to Snow White, and fed her a poisonous apple. The 7 dwarfs came home, found her dead. They could not bury her into the dark ground. She was so lovely that they put her in a transparent coffin, and she lay there for a very long time until a prince came upon the coffin, and he talked the 7 dwarfs into letting him take her to the kingdom. It'd be a lot better place for her. So as the prince's men were carrying her, the coffin got dropped. Out rolled Snow White, and the poisonous apple came from her throat. Again, she laid there, breathing and alive. So in the end, of course, Snow White ended up marrying the prince. But I have to tell you what happened at the reception. The stepmother again found that Snow White was alive. She showed up at the reception. She was forced to wear iron shoes that were heated up in a fire for a very long time. And she had to wear those shoes and dance in them until she was dead. So, in telling our young daughters it is okay to retaliate against someone who was mean to them, even if it means to kill them. Is that the message we really want to give our daughters? Then we have Belle. She was taken as captive by a beast to save her father, just because her father trespassed and stole some roses. With Belle, she felt bad. She fell in love with the beast after being with him. He catered to her every need. But again, he was her captor. So what is this a sign of? This is Stockholm Syndrome. The way Stockholm Syndrome works, I don't know if any of you are familiar with it. Maybe you are, but I'm going to tell you. It's a feeling of trust or affection felt in many cases of kidnapping or hostage-taking by a victim toward her captor. Now let me ask you, did you hear or see the negative impression that this can make on young impressionable girls? All the princesses depended on a prince to save them in the end with true love. In each of the fairy tales there are personal instructions for these princesses to obtain the true love of their Prince Charming. I want you to ask yourselves before picking up the next fairy tale to read your daughter, what life lesson is this going to serve? What is it going to teach them? So here is a quote by Loretta Young that I found. In my dreams, I could be a princess, and that's what I was. Like most little girls, I believed nothing less than a prince could make my dreams come true.
6.5 minutes.
Mom. 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 Mom.